limoncello, right? So you put the lemons in the vodka and you infuse it over a month or so.
A month.
Yep, and then you put some sugar water together and you mix it into a bottle. You got limoncello. You can actually see the label. I've got some labels over there.
Ooh.
So I made
it's become a...
Yeah, it's a brand.
Oh, beautiful.
So Misty and I have our own brand. It's called Rockin' Mindy Cello, where we do Mandarin cello, or I like to call it man-cello.
Yep.
And
beautiful.
And then you've got limoncello,
Yes.
Which is more dainty and pretty.
Less punch.
Less manly.
Yeah. Pure testosterone in each bottle.
The secret ingredient, testosterone. But yeah, we discovered to do strange things, and we got a fig tree out the back.
Right.
And Misty made some fig jam, and we usually we have a joke around the house all the time because always someone has bragging rights to something, and you go, "Fuck, I'm good. Just ask me," right? And that's fig jam.
Yeah,
right?
of course.
But we actually made fig jam. So I was actually thinking about making the specialised label for Rockin' Mindy, going, "Fuck, I'm good. Just ask me, jam." And call it, do the reverse acronym. Like, don't do the acronym. Actually, just spell it out. But it isn't fuck, I'm good, just ask me. It's actually fig jam.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. That was my quirky idea for the next lockdown. Hopefully not lockdown. Yeah.
Don't wish that upon us.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. Don't talk like that.
Give it time.
It's like talking about assassinating prime ministers and presidents. Just don't talk about it, man. It might happen.
You never know who's listening.
Well, man, I think we're ready to rock in.
I'm good.
Let's dive in. All right, and welcome to the Pagey Train. Today I have in the studio with me Scott Sowter, host of Something Ghostly.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, not a problem at all. I've been dying to get you on the show, actually, because I've listened to a few of your podcasts.
Oh, thank you.
Very well produced.
Thank you.
I must say.
I try.
Yeah, you do a really good job with it. You add space and dimension to it. I think that's really nice. You have sound effects and you play music.
Yeah. I wanted to make it sort of, an experience, because it's all about sharing wonderful, sometimes scary stories.
Yeah, but I think when I was listening to a little bit today, and you were talking about being like the word skeptic is a dirty word.
Yeah. I get a lot of negative attention, maybe, because obviously I've leapt into this world pretty full on, and it's a strange place to be.
Well, was it skepticism that got you into it? Why did you want to do the story?
I think I've always loved paranormal cryptozoology. I love that stuff. I just love it. I think we're as a society we're totally like, nah, there's no magic left in the world, blah blah blah. And it's like the last thing that is, culturally us, our generations, we're born too late to explore the Earth and too early to explore space. So,
I've had that thought before, actually. Yeah.
What's left is the stuff in between that science can't wrap its head around. And why does all this stuff happen if there's no explanation for it? Which is fine. There's fine not being an explanation, and I've always gone into it being like, probably not.
Well, there's some romanticism to it as well.
Oh, totally.
And I can guess. I think there's certainly a desire to talk to the dead.
Yeah.
Because we miss those that have gone.
Yeah, and saying goodbye is hard.
And saying goodbye is hard, and you want to have a conversation with them. So you can look at the psychological aspect, right? And go, this is why people obviously have this a delusion or illusion, right? But in my personal experience, like I'm a skeptic. I know it's a dirty word. Yes. I don't mean to be a skeptic, but I'm open to ideas.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm totally open to ideas.
I think that's the way you got to be with life in general. In everything that you deal with is like ask questions, be skeptical. So I sort of went into it like, probably not, but it might be really fun to hear some cool stories. And don't get me wrong, like hearing the stories is like awesome and it's amazing, and obviously the people I'm talking to like believe what has happened to them. But I think the hurdle for me was always going to be, well, if it hasn't happened to me, it's...
So how real can it be?
Exactly.
Well, I guess, look, I've had a few spooky stories that have happened to me that I can't explain.
Yeah.
Well, I can try and explain them away with psychological sort of ideas, like, longing or wanting, or perhaps even planting an idea in my own mind and not knowing it.
Yeah.
Is a possibility. But the the experiences I've had have been so profound and have touched my heart in so many ways that it's difficult to ignore.
Yeah, right.
It really is, yeah. Because I'm a scientific thinker. Like I'm a geologist at heart.
Yep.
I'm an amateur astronomer. I look out to the stars. I even like to talk to people about astrology, even because there's even a history to astrology that does match astronomy. There is a connection between the two. Whether the reading into astrology is real or not, there's a historical story that how we started mapping the stars that led us to where we are now in astronomy.
Yeah.
So there's a bridge between those two things, and one's quite romantic, and another one's quite stark.
Oh yeah. It's the difference between like happiness and the void.
Yeah, the void. Yeah, staring into the abyss.
Yeah.
The idea of meaning nothing.
Yeah.
Is terrifying. It's terrifying.
And I think that's sort of where I think the last few years, we're living in unprecedented times.
Totally.
It's sort of I think as much as we all try to hide from it at the moment, we're all kind of preoccupied with death. We're all of our mortality has suddenly been pulled into question in a way that we kind of never.
Yeah, especially collectively as a society. Yeah.
Suddenly, it's like death is institution again, and you can drop dead at any moment from this horrible thing that's floating around. And
we've seen that in the workforce, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at because COVID, when COVID happened, like I hate to talk about COVID.
Yeah.
But I think one of the aspects out of that experience where there's now exodus from workplaces because people realise, no, I'd rather stay at home with the kids.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I left my job.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, he's an example, right?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
I think we all spent a lot of time.
Life kind of happened.
Well, I fantasise about the walkout. Yeah, I think everyone does that.
Well, I did. It was fantastic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you should do it.
Oh, was it a positive experience, or did you do a full mic drop as your exit?
No, it was pleasant. I couldn't be mean.
I think at some workplaces you could be, or at least fantasize
previous
about
jobs, absolutely. But no, I left on good terms. But it was sort of like I wanted to do something a bit more meaningful. Yeah.
Yeah, something that draws more to your heart.
Yeah, like all those little jobs like retail and things like that just don't matter. Like they just don't matter.
They don't really serve the ultimate purpose other than consumerism, right?
That's it.
Oh, and as well, getting a paycheck.
Yeah.
I've done jobs like that, especially as a student. You have to do work like that to get by. In fact, you have to have multiple jobs to get by.
Yeah, nowadays.
Nowadays. So, I'm not saying it's bad work for people, but certainly I can definitely agree with
unless you're really, really passionate about consumerism and
love folding jeans,
and you're on the track to management, you're probably like a bit disillusioned with it.
Yeah, folding jeans is my opium. Just
gets you there.
Just gets me there every time. Yeah, no, there is the mundane, right? There is the mundane. And I think, COVID sort of illuminated that for people.
Yeah, everything was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, shit. What does everything mean?
Yeah, and I think that's why I got to thinking about ghosts and stuff, because it was sort of like, oh, fuck, might die.
Gone all existential.
Yeah, so I thought, why not actually like look into it properly? And I've been very fortunate in my life to meet weird people that one of my best mates is a paranormal investigator. Okay. I happen to know a scientist and a psychologist, so I messaged them all and I'm like, hey guys, do you want to come on this crazy journey with me? And they all agreed. Very excitedly agreed.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was sort of it, was to hear these stories, tell these three people who come from very different points of view. You've got John, who is a scientist. He is very, very skeptical. Miguel's a psychologist, although a believer.
Okay.
And our paranormal investigator, who, obviously believes.
Obviously a believer.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Big shout out to you guys.
Yes, fellas. Love you.
But, okay. Well, but what have you uncovered so far?
Well, look.
Have you got any grip holds on this, or has it changed your perspective?
Doing the thing has absolutely changed my entire worldview, which is crazy. But and it's sort of like the stories are incredible, and I can't thank the people enough who've come forward to tell me these. And some of them are really personal stories. One of the episodes, if you get the opportunity to listen to it, Ashley and Grandpa Tom, nearly made me freaking cry. Like, it's a beautiful story. Like, this little girl talking to her dead grandfather, who she never got to meet in life, but who connected with her in death, which is it's insane, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But there's part where you would go, well, that's a great story, and it's great how that person got that connection, right?
Yeah.
So the whether it's real or not,
It's real for her.
it had a positive impact.
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't hurt anybody.
Mm.
Like, there's no negativity from it.
Yeah.
There and the thing I'm getting a lot from this is like the power of belief is insane. Like, if you want to believe something, you'll believe it no matter what. And that's cool. That's
been shown in science.
Yeah.
Belief is proven in science. Especially when they do medicine trials, right?
Yeah.
They have the placebo effect.
Yeah.
And that placebo effect, they say this is going to cure you, and it's just a sugar supplement.
Yeah.
And and that belief starts to heal the body.
Yeah.
So that's how powerful belief is. It can cure you of your diseases.
Yeah. So learning the power of belief is crazy. But I think it all came down to, it's all well and good for me to talk to people, but if I'm going to experience something, I need to go and experience something. So the finale of the season is where I spent a night in a haunted house.
Okay.
Which changed my life.
Oh wow! Was it like, what's the word? Spooky? Was it fully spooky?
It was it was just a big old house. It's so Mamre Homestead out on Mamre Road, just out towards Penrith Way.
Yeah, I'm usually stuck in traffic around there.
Yeah. Big old house on the hill, which I got.
I know that house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So Rob runs ghost tours out there and invited me to come along for a night and record and things and.
Did you have an experience though? Where you had a paranormal experience?
I had multiple paranormal experiences one night.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, and they're all recorded, so that last episode's going to be a banger. But like to give you an idea of what happened,
well, we don't. I'm not going to blow it all right now.
The load, don't worry. But like I got shoved.
Yeah.
Something pushed me out of the way.
Wow.
Something grabbed my hand so hard that I dropped my microphone. Like you just hear it like whoop, whoop, bang.
That's insane, dude.
We heard a piano playing upstairs when no one was upstairs. We heard two women whispering upstairs. So it's a big, massive sort of 2-story farmhouse, essentially. And we could hear people like
creaking,
walking along, and then like two girls kind of, or girls, whispering or like giggling to each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the creepiest one out of everything you said there. The laughter from the dead would be really freaky.
When it grabbed my hand, I
yeah, wow.
never felt anything like that. So if you get the opportunity to go out there, the house is supposedly haunted by 3 distinct entities, if you will. And one of them, they don't know who it is, but they call it the Reverend. And that's the one that...
sounds terrifying.
We didn't get on.
Sounds terrifying.
If you're going to name something, the Reverend.
The Reverend.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so if we get the opportunity when that last episode comes out, you'll get to hear me have a couple of chats to the Reverend.
Oh, look. Wow. Oh, man, we'll definitely check it out. Well, while we're here, let's plug the show. Where can we find Something Ghostly?
Everywhere that you can find podcasts. If you reach your hand into the internet, it will fall gently upon it.
Yeah, great. It's great how we can do that now, isn't it?
It is. It's magical.
Do you go through Anchor? Or do you publish through Anchor, or do you publish it somewhere else?
I'll go through, as in my hosting? Or,
yeah, your hosting.
Podbean is what I use.
Podbean, yeah. Cause
it's just easy.
I was looking that up today because I saw on yours it was Podbean. I'm like, am I on Podbean? Like, I must be because I'm everywhere. I'm like, I looked up and I'm like, I am on Podbean. And I don't know how I got there.
Some of them are like, just suddenly it's like, oh, I'm on that too. That's great.
Yeah, well, there's a few that you got to sort of... one that I was really proud of is that I totally recommend as well because I reckon your show would do really well on it if you haven't done it yet, and that's iHeartRadio.
Yep, on iHeartRadio.
Oh, you're on iHeart already? Yeah, because I noticed...
awesome.
Once you get on iHeart, your viewership and your downloads go up significantly.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a badge of honor because you can't just be on iHeart.
You got to apply.
You got to apply and be accepted as a broadcaster.
Yeah. Tap Tapes is really cool too. If you want to do one. Yeah. Just like it basically just scans your show, picks like a really cool like, and then people can jump on and it just flicks through their interest. So if they're into film and stuff,
get out! That'd be super awesome.
30 seconds and they're like, oh yeah, cool, I'll get that one.
Well, it's going to be 90% made in the West, right? So it's going to be a whole bunch of 90% and then 10% everything
There's nothing
else.
wrong with that.
Absolutely not.
That's a great, solid film festival.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can't see the publicity behind me, you're missing the frame.
When was I in that? 2016?
2016, wasn't it The Goat? Was it The Goat?
The Goat.
No, what was your film?
That was Pillow Talk.
Pillow Talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But what was the one? No, it wasn't you that had the goat, was it?
No, I didn't have a goat.
Yeah, someone had one. It was very much like your one, Pillow Talk because they're in bed talking.
About a goat?
No, not about a goat.
Oh, okay.
But there's another one that's called The Goat, and there's this couple in bed talking, and this goat shows up, and it was very similar.
I didn't know. I couldn't afford a goat.
Yeah. Oh, goats are expensive. You got to budget.
Yeah.
If you're on a micro budget, how the fuck do you get a goat? No, Pillow Talk. I remember that. That was actually quite funny. Actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. That was 2016.
And it feels like forever ago. Yes, it was. Yeah.
It is a forever ago.
Yeah, my wife was pregnant because then the year after that, like, I obviously stopped making movies.
Yeah,
that's so busy being a dad.
You can always come back though.
Look, it was,
time.
I loved, I did my degree in film and writing, but writing was always what I wanted to do. So novels at the moment, then we'll go down that road.
Yeah, okay.
See where it leads.
Yeah, well, that's something that's always been intriguing me is novels or like I don't know, maybe I'm narcissistic enough to do a memoir.
Oh, lovely.
I've had a strange life, man. I really have. I start talking to people about my life. They go, "Fuck, man, you've been places." I'm like, I suppose I have. I just thought that everyone had a crazy life, and it's not the case, as it turns out.
Some people are gifted.
Yeah, tapped. Influenced by insanity. I definitely have, and there's some stories that I've got that are just so outlandish that they may as well be fiction. They may as well be because no one would believe them anyway. So I may as well write them up as a fiction story, very well knowing that I'm referencing real things. I'm actually doing a writing project for a mate. He's doing a collective of stories.
Yeah.
And he's asked me to do one, and I'm because I had one of my journeys was going through the military and being a musician at the same time.
Yep.
So I'd be in heavy metal bands while serving in the army.
Of course.
Right? Which is a strange...
Well, like, I see the correlation. I do.
There is, yeah. Maybe
there's lots of loud.
Yeah, lots of aggressive sort of things in there, I suppose, from being a guttural vocalist and yelling orders, perhaps.
Yeah.
There is that correlation. But I always wanted to be in a band, and I sort of ended up in the army. It wasn't... Well, I did.
You tripped and...
I tripped and I slipped and I fell in the army. Oh, no, but my father was in the army. His father was in the army. I was just destined to be in it, and I just ended up in it. But at the time, I was trying to, try out for garage bands and this sort of thing. And so I'm writing a story. It's called The Undercover Rockstar. So it's about my journey of being a musician and being in the military, and then eventually getting out of the military and being a musician. Yeah. And then from that, I ended up going and doing a film degree and ended up being a filmmaker. So I just totally went in another direction anyway. But
it's about the destination, right? That's the journey. The journey. Sorry, into the journey.
Yeah, it's about the journey. Totally about the journey. Well, we were talking about life and death before. I've once heard it said, and I've always resonated with this. Like, don't worry about life too much, man. No one gets out alive. No one gets out alive, man. It's not a when, it's an if.
That's it.
No, sorry, it's not an if, it's when. No, I got to get on the ball with those sort of things. But I've had some spooky stories, man.
Yeah.
Do you want me to tell you a spooky story?
Yeah, tell me a spooky story.
I'll tell you a spooky story. I was working up in Queensland in Townsville.
It's already terrifying.
Yeah, it's already If you haven't had an experience, kids, go out and hang out
in Townsville. See what happens, mate.
Well, I'd recommend Maggie Island. Maggie Island is like... Well, think of Townsville as Texas, right?
Yeah.
And Maggie Island is Austin. But the rest of it's still Texas.
Texas or is it Florida?
Well, if you think about it this way, if you... what's another way to think about it? If Townsville is Sydney, then perhaps, I don't know, Penrith is Maggie Island. That's another way to think about it. Yeah. Mate, that one doesn't fit very well, but it's mainly... the Texas analogy works well, I assure you.
Yeah.
Maggie Island's really nice, but Townsville takes a certain type of mind to live there.
Yeah.
Either one that is ignorant or one that is aware. It's true.
Acutely aware.
And participating.
Yes.
Or just ignorant to the fact that, that's them in there, them all over there. I was in Townsville.
Yep.
And a sad story. My grandmother had passed away.
Right.
And I had some really cool moments with that lady. Like, I remember once being in an elevator with her, and these two good-looking women got on the elevator, and she nudges me, right? She's like, go, there you go, Ross. I'm like, man, get it out. What are you doing? And, just embarrassing me. They sort of... Yeah, she was a woman.
Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, she was a woman like that, right? But I had very few interactions with her because my mother and her had falling outs, and so my interactions with her were quite brief through my life. And being in the military, I'd flown around the world really, just always on a plane.
Yeah,
always on a plane with that job. And most people, when you go on a plane, you go to the airport and you pick up your tickets there. It's very rare that you get your tickets before you get to an airport. It does happen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But it's a rare occasion that it happens. Normally, you go and check in, and they will hand you tickets.
Yeah, boarding pass and all that jazz.
Yeah. You get your boarding pass there. I think it's the only time in my life actually that I've gotten boarding passes before I've gotten to the airport.
Yeah, right.
Because the flight was organised through the military. And they gave me an envelope and they said, here's your tickets. Your joint flight is your connecting flight. You fly to Brisbane and you fly to Melbourne. And I was going to the funeral. Well, I'm a bit of a workaholic and I was leaving it to the last minute. And I was telling my mother, I'll definitely be at the funeral. I've just got to finish this work up and I'll organise it through work to have not convalescent leave, compassionate leave. Yeah. And so I take these tickets. I fly down just as you normally would go on a plane. Don't really care. Just, where's my seat? 36D, righto. Okay, hope there's no children on this flight. And then you get on the plane.
Well, children really are your fear, aren't they?
They are, especially on a plane, man. I heard a comedian once say that they should let, instead of letting the parents on the plane first, they should let everyone on and go, everyone just enjoy it for a second.
Yeah.
Now bring them on. Right?
Yeah.
But no. Look, it's fine. I'm only having a joke. Don't hate me in the comments.
Driving a car with them, jeez.
Dad.
She's like, that tree looks so tempting.
So I've flown down to Melbourne. I met with my family, and it was a beautiful funeral actually. Yeah. It was quite a lovely funeral, and naturally everyone's emotional. I think it was one of the first funerals I'd been to that where I was related to the person that I had a connection with. I was a young man, and we did the old...
How old were you at this stage?
I would have been 20...
Fortunate to get that far in life without...
Yeah, 23.
Yeah.
Experienced a lot of crazy stuff, but not a lot of death.
Yeah.
Been to a few funerals on the behalf of mates, some people...
Yeah.
But no one that was really attached to my family. And... we did that was the first time I actually, you pick up the dirt and you walk past the grave and you throw the dirt in.
Yep.
Right. So I had to sort of figure out, right, this is a custom that we've got to do, and I wanted to make sure that I did it right. And you sort of say a little prayer and say a little message to your nan as you're saying goodbye, and you throw the dirt into the grave. And we did all that, and at the reception I found out so much about her. She was into making stained glass, and some of the places I'd been, I'd actually saw some of her work and not realised.
Wonderful.
And she was a violinist, a musician. So I learned some things about her at that funeral that I never knew about her before. Anyway, so I go to the airport in Melbourne, and I'm sitting with my mother. She's going to Sydney, and I'm going to Brisbane. So we had some lunch together, and we parted ways because we had to go to different terminals. And when you walk up to the gate, and I still got those 2 tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Still got them because I'd previously gotten them, right? Okay, and then I pull out the ticket and I look at it and it said 1A. And I'm on an Airbus, right? I go, 1A? And as I'm walking down through the terminal, I felt this shiver come over me. And then I heard her voice go, "Thanks for coming, kiddo." It was plain as day. Yeah. And I thought, I took pause and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
That was very bizarre. And then I get on there and then the stewardess goes, "All right, no, come this way." Instead of going, when you walk on a plane, you always walk right.
Yes.
Unless you're rich, you walk left. Yes. And I walked left, and I went through a curtain. They opened up the curtains. They sat me down. I had this giant chair. They offered me some wine. Kept calling me sir.
Oh, what's that like?
Went to the bathroom in first class. Amazing. Absolutely
amazing.
Is it
like one of those Japanese toilets where it just does everything for you?
Oh, no, it's not that. It's not that clever. It's just the aesthetics. It had flowers in there.
Is it tiled?
No, it's all stainless. It was all stainless, but it was done in a nice way.
Oh, no, beautiful.
It was all aesthetic, and it had a big mirror, and it had flowers in there, and it smelt like petunias.
Pleasant.
It
didn't smell like a filthy steerage class toilet.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But sometimes they can be shocking, right? Some of those toilets can be shocking. So I went and had that experience, sat down, had the salmon. They actually gave me a metal knife and fork.
Oh, you were trusted.
You trusted.
Oh, this is a simpler time though.
Yeah, it was. Oh, actually, no. It was after
post 2001.
Yeah, post 2001.
Oh, okay.
They were still
trusted.
Yeah, that's why, because they took away. I remember they took away all the cutlery, right?
Yeah.
But then they started giving us plastic little things, and that weren't really that
Yeah,
good.
well, you got like one go with it, and then
Yeah, and I had a steak
you're
knife.
disarmed.
I had a steak knife and a fork, stainless. But I had an absolute. It was one of the most pleasurable flights I've ever been on. Right?
Fantastic.
But there was at one moment, it was literally when I looked at the ticket and
Yeah.
looked at the number, and my brain went, "What, eh?" Like I literally
That can't be right.
That can't be right.
Yeah.
And then it happened,
Yeah.
and that shiver came over me. It was very external. That's the only real way I can.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It didn't come from within me. It came from outside of me.
Yep.
That's the best way I can describe that sensation. And I've had other friends that have died, and I've just been sitting on the couch, and they've just shown up, like said something to me, like what? Like,
okay, so like auditory.
I had this one guy, Mark. He died. One of my pool friends I used to play pool with at a pub.
Yeah.
And he died, and a few months later, I'm just sitting on the couch, and I just heard his voice coming to me, and go, "Hey, Roscoe," because that's what he used to say to me.
Yeah.
Hey, Roscoe, you're doing a good job, man. Just keep it up. I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I'm just watching, I was probably watching Yellowstone or something on telly. And I just heard that, and like you start to question that sort of thing, and you go,
Yeah, is it sort of like your the power of memory firing up?
is it my mind muttering? Because
Yeah.
I'm a mutterer. I mutter. I do muttering. Sometimes when I'm upset, I walk away and go, fucking
Yeah.
thing. Bloody hell. So I mutter. So naturally your mind probably mutters as well. Is it just my mind muttering?
Yeah, potentially.
That's the way I sort of...
I'll put it to the boys. See what they come up with.
Yeah, auditory experiences. All right, well, we've talked about ghosts, right? I've told you a ghost story.
Yep.
Aliens, are they real?
Are aliens real? I think statistically, yeah, they've got to be. Like, I don't even need to do a podcast on aliens for sure.
Yeah. Well, I suppose statistically they would be, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Well,
the infinite nature of the universe is like we're not the only
living
cosmic
thing.
fuck up. Like, come on.
But if it is real, like consciousness would be a cosmic fuck up, really. Who would want to be conscious in the universe
Jesus.
anyway? Not even Jesus.
Yeah.
Too much.
This hurts. Oh.
I think obviously there is life on other planets, but I think the real question is
Intelligent life,
and has it been here?
I am.
So that part I'm skeptical on.
That's a podcast.
Yeah, I'm skeptical on that. Have they been here?
They fly by and lock their doors. I think at this point.
Well, look, they've got they've got all of the other stuff that you can see online, the Tic Tac thing, and all this sort of stuff that you have. Bob Lazar, yada yada. We've all listened to the podcast about this, right?
Yes.
And I just go, well, how come they don't show up at places that are easily reported and easily recorded?
Yeah. Considering we've all got cameras in our pockets now that are like 4K.
Yeah, man.
Capable
it's
and
so easy.
Why
to record shit.
Why is Bigfoot blurry all the fucking time?
Yeah. Well, apparently, Bigfoot had breasts. Apparently, there was a female Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Bigfoot's perceived to be a male, but
if you watch that video, the
guy in a suit,
the Patterson Gimlin video.
Yeah, is that what they call it?
That's it. That's the one. Yeah, it's got a nice set of cans on that. A great ass too, but that's
it's a fucking hot Bigfoot, man. It's fucking hot. Yeah, aliens. I don't know about aliens. I think I've had more of a connection with the supernatural than I have with aliens.
Yeah, well, I've never encountered a UFO, so
I've never seen one.
No, I'd like to.
I'd love to. I mean, I look at the sky all the time.
Yeah.
I do astrophotography and I photograph stars and planets, and occasionally get the odd satellite.
Yeah.
And you go, that's almost a UFO.
That's
almost.
It's a flying object.
Yeah. Man, one of the coolest.
It's an FO.
It's an FO. It's a flying object. Well, they don't call them UFOs anymore. They call them unidentified flying phenomena. So
UFP.
UFPs now.
That doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah, but I think they've done that to erode the stigma of the
The
UFO.
stigma.
UFO stigma. Obviously, you're a loon if you believe in a UFO.
Yeah, you
right?
nutcase.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. John brought up something through one of our... I don't remember which episode it was. There was an episode, or it might have just been John and I talking because we're forever talking about weird shit at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
There is a UFO alien abduction stories, which I suppose is a whole other...
There's a whole other thing, right?
Other thing. But the link between... childhood sexual abuse and UFO abduction is like remarkably terrifying statistic.
That's crazy.
So, like, that trauma finds a way to get back into their head somehow, and it always seems to be with
It
this,
manifests as a different thing.
as an alien.
But it taps into pop culture to do
it's
that.
weird, right?
That's a bizarre... But it makes sense, though, right?
It's, well, I guess, is if there's, you try to seek the fantastical to deal with trauma.
Yeah, I suppose you would, Well, look, as someone that's dealt with, like, PTSD and trauma, there's all kinds of ways to deal with it. For me, it was music.
Yep.
I used music to deal with
An artistic outlet.
Yeah. I redirected the negative energy
I suppose if you
into
have
something positive.
no outlet whatsoever.
Yeah, maybe you would turn to that. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
There's a couple of good papers on it, but we talked about it in terms of like night terrors and people who see shadow people, like the sort of sleep paralysis.
Yeah, well, I was going to bring this
stuff.
up with you before. I call them edge monsters, right?
Well, these guys.
Yeah, when you're really tired and you go, "What was that over there?"
Yeah,
and they disappear, and you're like, I call them edge monsters.
Yep,
because they only poke out through the edges, right? Like, fucking edge monsters showing up. I've got to go to bed. Well, again, though, even in hallucinogenic terms, right? I've had hallucinogenic experiences that I go, man, it's just not us here. There's more to life than what meets the eye. It's just that we're attuned to see the world this way and indoctrinated to see the world this way. But if you look through, especially, if you really want to talk to your dead relatives, man, go and eat some mushrooms in Thailand.
Oh, you will.
You'll have a dinner party with them, right?
And then when you wake up in that ditch and your ass hurts, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, well, now I'm just going to refer to that as an alien abduction.
Yes. Thoroughly probed. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think they're all, and that's the thing too with these stories is how much of it is psychosis.
Yeah.
And how prone are we to psychosis as a species?
Well, there's a variability in that, right? Because there's people that can be hypnotized, for instance.
Yeah.
There's a certain percentage of people that are easily hypnotized. There's a certain percentage of people that are that you cannot hypnotize them at all. I was going to try and say unhypnotizable, and I thought I'd give that one a miss. Unhypnotizable.
Yeah, but I'll do.
Unhypnotizable. Yeah. Anyway, people that can't be hypnotized. There's a percentage of people that are like that, and then you've got the middle bandwidth, right? So perhaps on belief as well. Like they've looked at studies of religious experiences, for instance. When monks are praying or when someone's meditating, they've studied the brain in these states, and there's actually not a lot of activity going on at all. It's in a calm state. And they compared that to, for instance, schizophrenics that hear voices, and there's a lot of activity going on in their brain. So you could look at this in all kinds of contrasting ways. But there's no smoking gun. I've never found a smoking gun for these sort of things, except for my own experiences.
Well, which is, I think, to a point that's what you got to rely on, right? For anything. I certainly, it was the way it was for me.
What about deja vus? Are they glitches in the Matrix?
I think it's like, I think, honestly, I think you end up in similar experiences all the time.
Yeah.
You just have those moments where it's like, well, I talked to you about that earlier. Like, no.
Yeah, the loop reel, right?
Yeah.
You go, didn't we do this before? And then you figure out.
Driving along and that blue car comes out of that drive. Did I? No.
Well, like, I was listening to Dr. Carl, right?
Oh, yes.
On Triple J, right? One of the explanations for deja vu is you walk into a room, your brain sees it, takes an image of it, and then doesn't process it correctly and loses it, and then you see it again, and you have a residual effect of the previous memory that you just recorded.
Yeah.
And that's a deja vu. But I've had deja vus that are really profound, man.
Like really specific. And
very specific.
Yeah.
Very specific. Even to the point where I could almost predict what was going to happen next.
Okay.
Even to the smell of log woods in the forest. Going, I know this smell. I've been here before, but clearly had not been here before.
Well, sensory things are way more powerful than we give them credit for.
Totally. Absolutely. I can certainly say this. When you look at it from an editing point of view, when you look as a filmmaker, right? So when you look at images, if you look at them rhythmically, and you don't cut images to eyes, you cut them to ears.
You're waiting for the.
Yeah, you want rhythm.
Yeah.
You want rhythm in your images. That's why when music videos work really well, because they're cut to a beat, and our bodies work to a beat, right? So we synthesize with it. And I think life is similar in that way. Like they've discovered through the Hadron Collider that particles aren't just particles; they're actually waves. They're frequencies. There's a frequency to it, and if you harmonize with those frequencies, you can make things happen.
Yes.
A small example is with a glass. You can harmonize with a glass and find its pitch point to smash it. It will go to a critical mass and smash because it can't handle the vibrations anymore, right? If you're a wavelength too high or a wavelength too small, it won't work. It has to be synchronized. And I think music sometimes when you hear music, especially from your childhood, it becomes very visual.
Yeah.
Visual experience.
Where you associate them.
The memory.
Perfectly.
Yeah, and you can recall them.
Yeah.
And I think smells are very similar to this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting a smell, you go, oh shit, that takes me back, man. Especially unique smells like, for instance, a Zippo lighter. When someone pulls out a Zippo lighter, takes me back to my early army days because everyone in the army that smoked had a Zippo lighter.
Of course.
Because it lasts longer and you can refill it. It's not disposable; it's reusable. That smell with a tobacco pouch takes me straight back to my military training every time.
Right.
Every time. It's unavoidable.
Yeah. Well, you were in it for so long.
Yeah.
It's a part of it.
I mean, I have straight. It's funny. You just triggered a memory with that. Actually, I dream about the army often. I've been out of the army for 12 years.
Yep.
I've been out of the army as long as I was in it.
Yep.
Right. But I still dream about it. I always dream about it, and the first thing you do when you leave the army as a veteran, you grow your hair long. Because you've forever cutting your hair. You go, well, I'm going to reject this notion because now I can write my own rules.
I'm a free man.
I'm going to grow my hair. I'm going to grow a goatee and grow a beard. And I'll grow. And ever since I've had a ponytail. Ever since. I think I've shaved my head maybe twice in the last 12 years. But I've even got my hair down to the middle of my back.
Yep.
Right? I've grown it extensively. And, I have dreams where I don't fit in the army anymore because I have a ponytail. Because every time I show up to parade, they're like, you got to cut the hair. I'm like, but I'm not cutting my hair.
I told you, I'm free.
I'm free, man. I'm not fucking set to your rules anymore. I don't have to cut my hair. I just want to hang out with you, have a beer. And they're like, no, you can't hang out with us because you don't have the right hair.
You're not in the club anymore.
Not in the club anymore. And I have this dream all the time, and I think it's maybe fear of rejection. That's what
that's what's like the seed at the
it's drawing on what visual aspects that are in my brain, right? Because it's same about ghost stories, right? Are we drawing on references that we have, and are we assimilating them into a construct of our psyche? Or are they actually external forces that's
the big question.
And are they auditory in nature? Are they visual in nature? Yeah. Apparitions?
Well, that's been the nice thing is like seeing the different
the layers of
interpretation. Well, just like the ghost stories they range from like there was something banging in the kitchen last night to the man was standing there and he looked at me.
Yeah, that is a bit different.
They're very and they jump.
Both
all over
would
the
make me
place
shit
too.
my pants.
Absolutely.
Both would make me shit my pants. But look. Hey, speaking of shit in my pants, right? So there was this story out in Athens. Didn't really shit my pants. I didn't go Engadine Maccas.
Figurative.
Yeah, I didn't go Engadine Maccas on this.
Nice.
I didn't go. That was a good one actually. I just slide that in there.
That was nice.
It was a good PR one. I thought that was a good PR.
No,
sorry.
Well,
bad PR.
Yeah.
Bad PR.
Well,
too soon.
You're happy with it.
We'll wait and see. That episode of the podcast will be out. I'll probably have Scotty B on for our political commentary if you're not reading between the lines, kids. But that's another show. But there was this guy out in Appin, right? You know where Appin is?
Up north.
No, south of Campbelltown. So in between Campbelltown.
Don't know where Appin is, mate. Go for it.
Well, it's between Campbelltown and Wollongong.
Yep.
It's farmland, essentially. Especially when I was growing up, it was farmland. And there was this guy who bought this property, and there used to be a gate that had a post in front of it that you couldn't close the gate.
Right.
And then he removed the post and closed the gate. And they had a newborn in the house, and they would get up and all of the cutlery was on the table. I'm like, how'd the cutlery get there? Like, so they put it back in the drawers. Go to bed the other night. Get up the next morning. The chairs are on the table.
Cool.
Right?
Yeah.
And they're going, what the hell? There's some weirdo fucking with us, right?
Yeah.
And then the next day, they could hear this noise downstairs. All the furniture was on the table, all the cutlery was on the floor, and they just kept worrying about the baby at that point. Because as a parent, you'd be like, the fucking child, man, we got to keep the child alive.
Don't take the kid.
We got to keep the child alive. That's our job. So then they moved the baby into. That's right. And then the next night, or maybe nights that preceded. Maybe I'm totally butchering the story. If anyone knows the story, but they found the baby on the table.
Yep.
And then they're like, "This is crazy." And they talked to their neighbour, and their neighbour said, "Yeah, the previous owner of the house was saying what you said, but they figured out to open the gate, and it worked so well. They actually put a post in front of the gate so you can't close it anymore." And he goes, "I'll just remove that post and close the gate." So he opened the gate that night, and nothing, absolutely nothing, no, not a peep.
Yeah.
So then he put a concrete post in and made the gate stay open forever.
Okay.
I don't know how true the story is. I'm probably third, fourth hand on that.
Okay.
But when they used to, because that's the kind of story that you tell
Well,
as a kid.
Yes.
You put a torch under you.
Put
a torch under your face, and you tell. And then he was in the back seat.
And he had a hook.
And he knew what you did last summer.
Yep.
It was that kind of story.
Well, that's I think the beautiful nature of ghost stories, right? And horror movies. That's why horror movies work too. Is that kind of like, and that unexplained element is great, and then the little solutions, but it's not too crazy that it's out of the realm of like belief.
It's within the suspension of disbelief, and I think if you look, I think it's said in film as well. Like if you look at films from the 60s to the 80s, and from the 80s to the 2000s, and from the 2000s to now, you'll see the it's like Santa Claus has died. You know what I mean? Back in the 60s, we used to believe in Santa.
Yep.
And everything was really rosy.
Yeah.
Everyone was really rosy. You could tell any story you like. And then all of a sudden, reality started to creep in and creep in, and then
Vietnam.
all these things happen to the world.
Summer of Love, and then Manson, and everyone got fucking miserable.
Yeah, well, and after wars as well, you can look at art, and it becomes bleak.
Yeah,
it becomes bleak in nature.
Yeah, and back to ghost stories too. Usually after a global conflict, World War I, World War II, Spanish flu, Vietnam, you get a rise in spiritualism. You get a rise in people being like, I might crack out a Ouija board. You get, because, and I think that's what we're going through at the moment with COVID, it's like, oh, death's like fucking real.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's mortality, right? Understanding immortality. I don't know, but then mortality leaks into other things, because then you start talking about meaning. Once you start talking about meaning, you start talking about legacy, because what is going to be here when I'm gone?
Yeah.
Did I make a difference? Have I had an impact? And that legacy is something that people would worry about.
Yeah.
I think
all the COVID babies, man.
Yeah, well, the natural legacy is to have children, right? Because then you raise your own to be better than you.
Yeah.
Not only just replace you, but to be better than you. You want them to have more than what you had. Yeah. You want them to be above you, which is an ironic thing, because sorry, Dad, playing you at golf. I know we're even, bro. I know we're even at the moment.
What's his handicap?
We're doing all right at the moment. But I think it's ironic, because I was beating him at golf, and he starts telling me how to play golf. I'm like,
oh yeah,
check the scoreboard, bro.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to be getting advice.
I think that's every father.
Yeah, but but that's that irony, right? My dad's want them to be better.
My dad's got one hand, and he'll still be like, "That's not swinging properly." I'm like, "Fuck you! You can't even swing properly."
You're not very handy, are you? Jesus. Yeah. Terrible joke. Shout out to Scott Stash. Yeah, but they do. But that's that natural human emotion, right? Yeah. As the parent, you want them to be better, but then they become an adult at some point,
and they can say no.
Yeah, they can rebut and rebuke. And debate and argue, and have a formidable place to do that from. But there's one lesson I learnt in this regard of legacy and meaning, and that was through a concreter friend of mine. His father started out as a concreter, and turned it into a building company that made skyscrapers.
Cool.
He started out as someone with a trowel that was the CEO of someone that built skyscrapers. So from the bottom, literally to the top. And I remember I was at a party with this father and son, and the father was whinging to me. He goes, "He just doesn't fucking get it, you know." Like, and this kind of dry sort of Australianism, like, back in my day it was really tough, and he just doesn't understand. I said, "Yeah, but of course he doesn't understand." He goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "Did he go to a public school or a private school?" He goes, "Yeah." "Did he buy his first car, or did you buy it for him?" He goes, well, I bought it. I go, did you buy your first car or did your dad buy your first car? He goes, well, I bought my first car. I said, so how you're comparing apples to oranges here, man. You're giving him a harsh time because of your experience.
Because he doesn't have your life experience.
They don't have your life experience. And in fact, it was actually your duty and mission at the beginning of your journey to make this so. You actually wanted this scenario.
This was the best case.
This was the best case, because imagine if he had to buy his own car and he had to go through the struggles. Did you want him to have those struggles? No, I didn't want that, actually, no. And you'd be like, well, man, he's acting like a millionaire's son, if you ask me. He wants it all, and he wants it all fucking now. And why wasn't it delivered yesterday,
Yeah.
you know? Of course he's like that. But knowing that dude, I go, but he certainly has your qualities, man. He has the qualities of loyalty, has the qualities of being polite and being nice and being helpful. You've given him the right tools to get through life. It's just that his life script is different.
Yeah, slightly to yours.
It's different to yours, man. You can't compare the two. You can't be busting his balls for it either, because he's just going to go, well, fuck you.
I learned it from watching you.
Yeah. Don't criticize the fucking tree from the apple that fell it from, you know?
Absolutely.
So I think we do that, but we have this legacy idea, and I think that for me, that's what ties into the romanticism of looking into the supernatural, the romanticism of looking, they're aliens, the romanticism of deja vu.
It's the
because it's purpose and centering.
Yeah. There's a mystery to wrap your head around. Can I be the one to solve it? Probably not, but
we all want to be the one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not everyone can be.
I'm super special. Everyone loves me. Scientists have done studies. They found the center of the universe.
Fuck them.
This guy. But the world keeps on turning, but it only matters for people on the rim. Yeah. Yeah, no, we can get egotistical about it. Sorry, I cut you off.
No.
I'm only kidding, kids.
Yeah.
I'm only kidding.
I think it's like, it was just the like, that romantic notion of it, like magic.
Yeah, magic is intriguing.
It's like a magic trick. The moment, like when a magician's doing a magic trick, it's like when you're left not knowing, it's more satisfying somehow than to just be like, well, I did it because every second card is slightly longer than the card before it, and that's how I knew where your card was. You're like, oh, well, fuck, that's a bit shit.
Yeah, it's not.
But not knowing, it's like that motherfucker.
The mystery is more exciting.
My card. Yeah,
it's way more exciting. Like let's say, because in magician worlds, right, they'll say that the hand's quicker than the eye. All right, and I appreciate that, because when someone's doing a card trick or a dice trick with you, you're watching their hands and you're trying to figure out where the cup is, where's the bead, where is it? Oh shit, I'm wrong. How do you do that, right?
Yeah.
When you've obviously been tricked by the hand quicker than the eye. But I think sometimes, as the skeptic, as I said, being the skeptic, in the nicest possible way, hate me in the comments. In the nicest possible way, that maybe that your mind is quicker than the hand, and sometimes that's where I sometimes attribute to. That's where I end up on that threshold of, I know that I want to feel this so bad. I want to believe in this, or am I just constructing this for my own solace?
Tricked myself.
Yeah, to make myself feel better about the situation.
And at that last episode of the show, it's sort of like, I can't wait to, like, I still haven't gone through all the audio for it yet, but it's like, that stuff that happened to me that I felt that I got pushed, was that because I just wanted it so bad to happen to me? Like, I was like, this is going to be my confirmation that I made it so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I can certainly say in my experience, when I look at it scientifically, I can unpack it. And you go, well, here's my biases, here's what I know, and here's what I don't know, and here's what I certainly don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's what I don't know, because I know that I don't know that. But then there's what I totally am not aware of. Yeah. Right? So there's different levels of not knowing. There's different levels of knowing. Out of all of that spectrum, there's still a part of my heart that goes, yeah, but you know that inherently that is correct. And that's the part that I wrestle with. Yeah. And that's the desire to want. Yeah. I want my nana to have talked to me when she was dead, because that's fucking cool.
How great is that, right?
That's fucking awesome.
How warming and confirmation is that like, great, I'm not just a pile of fucking dust. Perfect. When I croak, there's something else. Fantastic.
Well, I've got another crazy idea for you. The Elon Musk philosophy in life, the simulation. That the world is like the Matrix, right? It's all a simulation.
Right.
I'm actually writing a cool story about it at the moment. That I'm doing this journey between Australia and Proxima Centauri, how Australian-centric, between Earth and Proxima Centauri.
Right.
And they end up on a ship, and they're in hypersleep. But in being in hypersleep, your brain develops amyloid if it's not dreaming. So you wake up with Alzheimer's at the other end. So to combat Alzheimer's, they have to have a dream.
Something for you to be in the middle. Yeah.
So your brain is active while you're asleep. So your brain stays active. So when you wake up, you're not a vegetable at the other end. And that story is this. Is life, right? So life is a simulation in order not to get Alzheimer's. Crazy idea.
What happens to those poor fuckers who get Alzheimer's?
Well, they forgot that they were dreaming, and then they forgot they had a life. It's a really shit story. But I guess my point is that there's this idea that the simulation exists, that life is a simulation. Perhaps the beyond the ether.
The forces that are...
Yeah, maybe it's the people in the computer control room
Someone
going...
come over to be like, oh, wake this guy up.
Yeah, so maybe my nan's up there typing a text, right? Just say this to him. Thanks for coming, kiddo, enter.
Okay.
Crazy way to look at it.
It is.
Maybe there's a sci-fi aspect to what we think is ghostly.
To the paranormal.
Yeah, because every time we've unpacked these things, right, through history, I don't want to get totally nerdy, but let's talk about the Bible. If you look at
my favourite topic.
my favourite topic.
We love
talking about the Bible. No, but these are stories that are told through metaphor to understand the world.
It's visual language.
Yeah, that's it. And that was from a time where we didn't have scientific measurement. And that's why I find it amusing when religious types try to incorporate scientific language with religious language, because they're not...
It's my favourite fucking thing in the world.
They're not compatible.
Oh.
Putting saddles on fucking dinosaurs is just fucking weird, dude.
Don't, mate. The Tyrannosaurus Rex evolved purely to eat pumpkins.
Yeah. Vegan Tyrannosaurus. The vegan T-Rex. Now there is a web series.
Oh, sorry guys.
1 + 2 is carrot. Look, I think, these stories that we tell, these fables, if you like, are riddled with metaphor. They're interpretative.
Yeah.
Interpretative.
It's the same with Shakespeare. It's Hamlet means one thing to me. It means maybe something entirely different to you.
Well, actually, that's true, right? To be or not to be.
Yeah.
Right. Is he saying to be?
Yeah.
Or is he saying like
do it or don't?
Do it or don't? Or is he saying be it or be not it?
Mm.
Or is he saying it is that I will be and I will never not be?
Yeah.
There's all these... but they're all the same thing, but they're not.
No.
They're not the same thing. They're all different in context and interpretation.
And that's what that's how we end up with 50 different denominations all spouting the different thing but have the exact same source material.
Yeah, man. Oh, man, I think...
there's a whole other... I mean, that's a whole podcast.
That's a whole
series.
podcast. Oh, dude, look, listening to Randy Carlson and listening to all these other dudes that are into, the geology of the pyramids and how they actually formed and their actual true age, not being 5,000 years, but being 30,000 years old. Yeah. This stuff fascinates me because it makes sense. A lot of it makes sense.
The Cleopatra is closer to us in time than she is to the building of the pyramids.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's fucking crazy.
You need a whiteboard to figure this shit out.
Yeah, but look, I need a whiteboard and I need three colours.
Yeah, and fucking Matt Damon from that movie.
That was a good movie, man. That was a good movie. I like that movie. That's one of my feel-good movies. You watch it to feel better. Yeah, when I'm sitting on the couch and feeling ugly in the world that hates me, I'm going to watch Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting.
Because we're all that goodwill that's hunting. Such a play on words. It's so clever.
Beautiful.
I just think, these ideas have been had over and time again. And, the planetary seeding idea, right? Comets that are hitting planets seed planets with archaea, which are the basic blocks of DNA that then evolve to the lizard, to the rodent, to the mammal, to the human, right? Because if you look at the human brain, right, only the front 2% is human.
Yeah.
The rest of it's like monkey, lizard, bacteria.
the shit that we
That's where we come from. And these exist in us, are like the irritating emotions that we have, like jealousy is a fucking irritating emotion.
Yeah,
I want to be that person over there.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, a distraction from who you are over here.
And
that's
our baggage.
Yeah, the baggage of our evolution,
evolutionary baggage.
Yeah, totally. But then at some point you go, there's as a geologist thinker and as a budding astronomer. I find it very unusual, right? Because this is where you get into design theory, right? I find it very unusual that during a solar eclipse, that the sun is exactly the perfect distance away from the moon to perfectly fit together, so that you can see the surface of the sun's corona, right? If the moon was any closer to us, it would totally block it out.
Yeah.
If it was any further away, you wouldn't see the corona. It is literally
at the right spot.
At exactly the right spot. And you'd think, if I was a terraforming alien extraordinaire and I needed to sign my work, that looks like that's a mad signature. Fucking boom, man.
Beautiful, right?
Yeah, and these guys think that the Earth, the moon formed out of the Earth, and they go, they don't even know, man, that we put propulsion on a rogue moon, and then we drove it to the solar system in the purpose of creating the tilt, in purpose of creating the tides, which it gave us the seasons. It was all.
Did you go and see Moonfall last week?
Haven't seen that yet, actually. But I just think that's peculiar. Like, you look at it as a scientist, you go, that's fucking weird, man. Yeah. That's a weird coincidence. It certainly is. But there's heaps of those, right?
Yeah.
But another one they found recently that really blew me mind was looking at how organic chemistry, so basic carbon compounds, when hit with a lot of electricity, they evolve into cells.
Right.
All right. So you start thinking about that. You're thinking about, like, oceans that have been populated by comets in this what they call accretion. It's called accretion theory, where they build. The planet gets built after meteorite after meteorite, and it turns into a sphere, and then it gets hit by things that are made of water. That's weird.
GoDaddy.
GoDaddy. We're not even sponsored by GoDaddy.
Need to be.
Yeah. Is this going to be a long ad? It's going to be a long ad.
See, I'm not a big fan of podcasts with ads right in the middle.
Yeah, right in the middle. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to our vortex. Well, don't forget to go check out GoDaddy. GoDaddy, I think you owe me a check.
You get a free trial.
For a bit, at least 30 cents of advertising there.
At least.
At least. But, you got the Earth being populated by water. It starts to get weather. Lightning starts striking certain parts.
And that's what's then...
Carbon compounds then evolve into cells. The environment of those cells changes around. All of a sudden, they've got to evolve.
Yes.
And then, repeat that. Yeah, and repeat that process over billions of years. And then you've got iPhones that are now taking dick pics that can be sent anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
Evolution.
Into space.
Literally
send your dick to Mars.
Well, that's what I think is crazy, man. We've got this phone, right? You can look at the surface of Mars.
Yeah.
Right? You can actually look through the Earth, because I've got apps that when I want to look at some objects in the sky, you got an app for it. You go, I wonder what that star is. You can just look up, right? But you can actually look through the Earth and see what's on the other side.
Really?
Yeah. So
I have not played around with that, but I should.
But think about that. Like, in a way, we literally have X-ray vision. We've got this device that can transcend ideas across the Earth, change political thinking in people.
Yeah, and that's fucking scary. But yeah,
well, that is scary. But what do we do with it? Dick pics.
Dick pics.
That's crazy, man. But we got all this technology that we're evolved to this. Existence has been going for 13.8 billion years, and it's taken me this long to figure it out.
Oh, it's macro lens. Great.
It's great.
How helpful for some people.
I was on Snapchat. They disappear anyway. Do they?
No, China's got them.
China's got them. Oh, no, on TikTok. TikTok, they've got them.
That's right.
Yeah, TikTok is...
Sorry, wrong platform.
Yeah. Well, it's good PR, though, for someone to... If you had a TikTok account and then had to cancel it really quickly. You're like, oh, shit, it doesn't work with my narrative. Wrong podcast. Yeah. We'll circle back to that in a few weeks, kids. Look, I think we're really close to the end, Scott.
Yes.
So let's plug the show one more time. Where can we find Something Ghostly?
Yeah, so jump onto Facebook's always good, facebook.com/something ghostly. You can message me there too if you've got a story. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I've got a good ghost story, let me know. I would love to hear it. somethingghostlypodcast@gmail.com is a nice way to get in touch with me.
Yeah, great.
You're on there. You can listen to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, anywhere you can find podcasts.
Yes, you'll find it. Something Ghostly.
Something Ghostly. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate your time.
It was a deep.
It was a deep journey.
It felt deep.
Existential, but yet deep. So external, but internal.
It was nice.
Yeah. It was a paradox, really.
Yeah.
It was all of the above. That's
That's what it should
At
be
the
about.
same
Am I
time.
even alive right now? Who knows?
Might be a simulation. It could be
Maybe.
fake.
Maybe.
But you have been watching the Pagey Train. Don't forget to go and subscribe on our YouTube channel. And hey, of course, you can also find us at anywhere that you can find podcasts. iHeartRadio. Check us out on Anchor. Check us out on Spotify. You can basically check us out anywhere. And while you're there, don't forget to tick like and hey, leave a comment if you'd agree or disagree with us. But hey, look, I'm finally back. We're back for season 4. We're gonna have some more episodes out for you guys soon. Obviously, we'll be talking Made in the West because we've got a lot of stuff coming up for that. And you've been watching the Pagey Train, and we'll see you next time. All right, we're done.
Beautiful.
That was it. How long did we go for that, Misty?